going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner.
Man, I'm confident in our offense, that's for sure.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Make sure to like and subscribe out there on YouTube. Also, make sure to follow the podcast everywhere you get your podcast. Just rate 5 stars. We continue to raise money for charity and donate a portion of the revenue we make over to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So consider donating and helping them out as well. PayPal, we are here. We are previewing training camp. This week, rookies are reporting. And also, we already have big news with Chase Claypool. But first, PayPal, how are you doing, my friend?
Gosh, yeah. I was hoping we were starting off like great news from him. But yeah, I'm doing good, Brad. I just got back from that camping weekend.
Yeah.
It was a great time. It's such a nice way to just kind of step back from everything and just fully relax. Like, there's nothing better than waking up in a tent, and then just getting outside and just cooking some eggs. There's just nothing better. That's what I did this morning. It took an hour to do it because fun little side note. We had Kiowa catering at where I work, and they just left out those heating things that just keep the catering warm.
Oh, nice.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I was they're filled with oil. I'm like, these could kind of be nice maybe to cook food with at camping because they're light, they're whatever. I totally forgot they're meant for catering. So the fire that they light is super, super small. So it took an hour for us to cook eggs. It took so long. But hey, they're really good eggs. But it was
cooked.
Yeah, slow cooked. Yeah.
Low and slow, baby.
Super tender, super tender,
We're going to smoke these eggs, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you had fun. I don't know if this comes up in the display, but I got a battle scar from my 9-month-old from scratching me across the face. It was baby's got daggers for fingernails and scratched my face, but man, whew. I was not placed on the pup list. I'll tell you that, though. I'm still able to record and do a show. But as we probably already have heard and already know, the pup list. Chase Claypool, right? I don't know about you, though, PayPal. This is sick and twisted. When I saw that Chase Claypool was on the pup list, I was like, boys, girls, it's football season. It just started up. But obviously, that is the big news that came through. Chase Claypool put on the physically unable to perform list. And we heard a little bit about this from Sylvie saying, hey, he's not looking like the organization doesn't like where he's at. They really don't think that he's going to make a recovery and all these other pieces. He's not going to be there. He's going to be on the pup list. PayPal, walk me through this. What do you think?
Yeah, I had the same idea as Joseph Mutsak has kind of said. First, I had the same reaction as you. I was like, it's football season, and also I just was so disappointed that this happened. I just can't stand. It's I want Chase Claypool. We need him as a receiver, but yeah, kind of back all these other guys that have had injuries kind of in the offseason got back. We had Eddie Jackson. He was injured. He's more than 100%. It sounds like he seems like he's playing better than ever. And then also Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney had a worse injury than Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool just had a little soft tissue thing that should not be egging him on this much. And I think it does really bug me because I saw a video of him the other day of, sorry guys, I'm not posting my workout videos every day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's actually kind of funny. He is working out every day. Okay, I'll trust him. He's just, he's just minding his own business, and he's, helping out to spread football in the UK and everything. But this just makes me kind of maybe we're right. Maybe we're right. He isn't actually practicing or trying to get better.
I think that's the hardest part, right? And also, too, I haven't even described what this show is actually about besides Chase Claypool. we're going through camp storylines. So we're talking about what we're looking out for at training camp. And Chase Claypool was like, what about me? And I agree with your points because it's soft tissue, and you're more the medical expert than I am on these things. And I go back to, was it Eberflus saying he had multiple things going on? And it's that whole aspect of who do you listen to? And I think a lot of it is, I remember Justin Fields praising, and then you hear the stuff through the grapevine about that the Bears weren't liking where he's at, right? And yeah, there's plenty of time, but still, it's like, yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't feel right. You know what I mean?
I remember you talking about how you had a good point when when Justin Fields kind of backed up Chase Claypool. He brought that up out of the blue. Like, normally you don't bring up, hey, this guy's a really hard worker out of the blue. You don't say that,
Yeah.
So I'm starting to think it is kind of, it seems like it was a knee thing. I think that's kind of what he was egging on, like kind of the end of the year last year, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
that's right. He was out for a
it's a
bit.
knee thing that gives it a little bit more credibility, I would say. I'm trying to be optimistic because I don't want to hate on Chase Claypool
Yeah.
because
He's on our team, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is, he's on our team, so I hope he does well. Also, it's nice seeing it's been a while since Reload's been
Reload.
on the Love Show, so it's nice to see him out there too. But no, I agree. Like, he's on our team. It's so hard because also I didn't have high expectations, but it's like you at least want him there. So we'll see what he ends up doing. He was out for a handful of time, but PayPal, right? Like, we already know what he's kind of about. Doesn't help that the Bears also posted him going to like Fashion Week and wearing cashmere and stuff like that, where it's like, there's already people commenting like, this dude's soft, and then what do you know? He's not here with his soft tissue injury. But let's just talk about the wide receivers a little bit more. So from an edge rusher, from a wide receiver perspective, this is about camp storylines. And obviously, unfortunately, it seems like Chase Claypool is going to be the big piece, and he might not even be playing. That's the crappy part. Is I know on Thursday when I recap what I saw at on training camp. Also, be there for the live show. We'll go live at 7:30. Get your questions ready, and I will just answer them rapid fire as much as we can. So make sure you get ready for that. But and also live on YouTube for those that are listening. If you want to be a part of that, feel free to hop on, and I can answer your questions. But yeah, besides that, storylines with the wide receivers. Let's say Chase Claypool doesn't play at all in training camp, so there's nothing to report on him besides him sitting on the sidelines. What are you looking for out of these wide receivers as for storylines?
Yeah, I honestly, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, I am not worried about. I think those guys, we don't have to think about them. They have their spot, they have their roles. I think they're good. I think Darnell Mooney, like, we know he's going to come back healthy. I mean, he's just a silent guy that just works his butt off. So don't need to worry about him. Same with DJ Moore. He's kind of one of those silent guys, doesn't say anything. Honestly, kind of with the whole Chase Claypool thing, my personal like next man up guy, it's not EQ, it's not Tyler Scott, it's Velus Jones. I think that's kind of the person that has to fit Chase Claypool's role. Like, he's not he's a pretty decent sized guy. I mean, he's 6 foot, like 200 pounds. I think he'd be kind of the best guy to fit that Chase Claypool role. We saw kind of what he had near the end of the season. Can he kind of go into this season, this training camp, and kind of prove himself as like a reliable target and actually, be a good blocker and kind of fit the scheme well? Because we know EQ can do that stuff, but he's not ever going to be that blazing route runner. That he doesn't have that ceiling like a Velus Jones could possibly be for this team.
Yeah, I agree with you there, where it's like the people that I'm watching are Velus and Tyler Scott. Tyler Scott, we know, is a deep, speedy guy that the Bears do like. Now, do I think that he should be a starter day one? Yeah, like that's
Mhm.
where we'll have to see. And Bayless, yeah, he's been progressing forward because, yeah, I just don't want to see Dante and EQ out there. I think that's what
Yeah.
it boils down to, right? Like,
Yeah.
just not seeing the same of that. And especially, we talked about this, right? And I know Ron in the comments is saying, hey, cut Claypool. He doesn't want to play. To me, I remember us bringing up, like, what about Hopkins when he was available on the market?
Yeah.
13 mil, not bad if you're thinking about that. But obviously, we're not the people that are inspecting his soft tissue injury. So we'll see
Mhm.
what he ends up doing. But Tyler
Hey.
Scott is going to be my big player to watch, I'd say,
Yeah.
during training camp because I want to see what he has. And then Bayless, obviously.
Yeah, I honestly, and that'd be interesting, if he did step up, like kind of having Mooney and Tyler Scott actually together instead of we've kind of talked about the entire year of like having them sub in for each other because they're kind of the same size, same, slot receiver type. Um, I still think Nasimba Webster is kind of one of those guys I think
Really?
could slip into this roster and make it. Maybe kind of slip in instead of a Dante Pettis. I know Dante Pettis has that Justin Fields connection, but I still think Nasimba Webster is kind of someone to watch out for to be a sneaky guy in this training camp to make the roster because I've just seen a lot of I've seen a lot of Nasimba Webster as much as I thought I would like see him this offseason. Like I've seen videos, I've seen like bits and pieces of people talking about him. And two, I guess another guy too, if I want to keep going, is Dries Fountain. I think if we're just talking about the size perspective of
Hmm.
maybe if we just want a bigger guy, Dries Fountain, still someone, if we want a bigger receiver, like kind of a Chase Claypool, if Chase Claypool is cut or just not playing, kind of look at him as a potential filler for him, I guess.
That is intriguing. Like, I like it, Simba Webster, but yeah, if Simba Webster can be be a player, that'll be interesting because he's always decent. But yeah, I'm agreeing with Ron where to me, I'm Scott. Like I'm
Mhm.
team. I mean, I think that we both loved. I'm pretty sure everybody liked the Tyler Scott pick. Like,
Oh yeah, I agree.
I haven't heard a single person be like, you know what, pick really sucked. The Tyler Scott pick, right?
Yeah.
Like that was everybody loves that one, right?
Mhm.
And so hopefully we have somebody, and this is what we talked about too, just finding that depth, having those big time playmakers with Scott and Bayless doing something so that we don't relive the same wide receivers that we had last year with EQ and Pettis. Otherwise, Lord help us. In particular, Lord help Justin Fields then. But let's go over to Justin Fields because obviously he's a gigantic storyline. I'll kind of start with this one. To me, Justin Fields obviously is going to be the biggest storyline. It shouldn't be Chase
Mhm.
Claypool because the success is on Justin Fields. Justin Fields also said, hey, I think he talked about being the first Bears quarterback to reach 4,000 passing yards. And he said that he kind of plans on doing that. Justin Fields, the big guy in the middle of this offense, the leader of the team. And yeah, to me, the big question is going to be what I'm watching is how is he going to be throwing the football in camp? Is he getting the ball out quickly? That's going to be the big piece. It's like what we talked about, taking the easy stuff. And we all of us that listen to this work most likely
Mhm.
for a living. We all know that person that you work with where anytime that you're on a project with them, maybe it's you, they always dream big. They want these big projects. They add a little bit too much to the project. And for big projects, that's great. But we just need to do the little things. The little
Yeah.
day-to-day stuff is what we need to see out of Justin Fields. We know he's the guy you want to put the ball in his hands so that he can run for a big play, pass for a big play. It's about the little things because that's the thing that he still needs to just demonstrate. He can take the easy passes. That's what I'm looking for. If he hits a big bomb, yeah, I'm going to be freaking the F out in the
Mhm.
stands and being super happy. But like when if he passes little slants, I'm going to be very, very happy to be like, this is what the offense needs. Simple things to help us moving down the field. We don't just need those gigantic chunk plays.
Yeah, and I think he needs to realize that getting those small plays will get him closer to that 4,000 passing yards. He doesn't need to he doesn't have to pass these, like just start chucking the ball down and, act like he's playing in a video game of just like, all right, I'm just going to just toss the ball to a deep ball every single time. It's like, to get that 4,000 yards, you just got to take the easy stuff. You don't have to be chucking and make these big plays. But yeah, he still obviously hasn't learned how to speak to the media. It's you should not.
Really?
I think you should be saying that just because he got so much backlash from it. I do love his confidence. I think that's something you just gotta love from him, of being like, yeah, I will be that next person. And I personally, I don't think he's getting that 4,000 this year. I think that's kind of a next year thing. Just because I think this is going to be kind of that part 2 of kind of growing as a passer, and he's going to kind of get a hot stretch in the end of the season. But yeah, Justin Fields is definitely set up for 4,000 yards eventually yet to come.
Oh, for sure. We got renewable in the chat too. Camp week, let's go. Agreed. I'm pumped. And so yeah, like Justin Fields, obviously someone that we're going to be watching out for during training camp for sure. And let's talk about the thing that is actually the thumbnail of the YouTube channel or the YouTube show today, the free agents, because I did find this interesting. And this guy, he's all over the Chicago media. It's David Kaplan. David Kaplan just recently on ESPN Chicago's David Kaplan just said that on his show that the Bears want to add a edge rusher as soon as possible. He kind of added more that he was doing some call-ins, some deep dives, and basically was alluding that the Bears are in fact in pursuit of some edge rushers. That is clearly going to be a huge discussion unless one of the other defensive ends showcase it, right? And I know that we've talked ad nauseum about who we want. Justin Houston is usually like our number one, and Jadeveon Clowney, and also I saw your boy Dwayne Smoot out of Jags.
Oh, Smoot, yeah,
just got re-signed, and so he's gone. They're starting to get picked off, so we'll see if they end up bringing someone around this time, right? But yeah,
we just got to speak it into existence, Brett. I think the more we say it, we just have to keep. It's like because we don't want to have it where we don't speak it enough, and then we don't get a guy signed. Because I just think recently with the Chicago Bulls, I think everyone wanted the G League star that just kind of came out of there, Freeman Liberty. He got signed. And once I saw he got signed, I was so sad because everyone in Chicago, even the city of Chicago, tweeted at the Instagram of the Chicago Bulls and was like, you better sign this guy. And then we ended up not getting him. So try and speak into existence, getting an edge rusher. Because just looking at our defensive line, Brad, like I'm hoping we kind of see it training camp, like that maybe like Travis Gibson is back into, we're seeing great things from him. We're just seeing great things from DeMarcus, from DeMarcus Walker, like I'm hoping we see that he's an absolute, beast, like in training camp, which I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen. But yeah, it's just kind of like, I couldn't see like a Rasheem Green and us being like, wow, look at him go. Like, I think DeMarcus Robinson's still going to have to like grow because he just has still such a fresh guy, but we'll obviously see him getting better. But yeah, we need a free agent, and that's definitely, we just got to keep refreshing Twitter 24/7.
Yeah, I agree though with you with like the free agents, right? But I think to me though, the two people that I'm watching out for is Robinson and Travis Gibson. Like those just purely are the two people that I'm just going to be watching. Cause like you said it, Rasheem Green is not, he might make some good plays every now and again, but he's not going to be like, dude, Rasheem Green, 10-sack season.
Yeah.
But Robinson wasn't even, we'll keep pounding this. Robinson really wasn't supposed to play last season. He was supposed to be redshirted like Travis did his rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
But he ended up playing because of just the way that the Bears were, trading away Robert Quinn, and hopefully he can take that next step. Let's see what the coaching staff can do. And can you develop some of this raw talent that you have in Travis and in Robinson and create someone who can kind of play with Walker so Walker can be that versatile chess piece on that defensive line where he has done well in multiple seasons. But anything else from this defensive end spot for you?
Yeah, I just think that if Dominic Robinson, if we see him play well, I'm just saying our defensive line coach, you gained my respect. You know, if Dominic Robinson or any of these guys honestly just stay the same, please just get that. I don't think it's the player's fault at that point. I think it's our defensive line coach, because ever since we got this guy, it's like kind of questionable.
I agree, right? If those defensive linemen are doing well, we'll say his name. And we will say his name because he's got all the raw talent. He's like, just give me these balls of clay. I'll develop into something. Yeah. And like what we always say, we trust our offensive line coach. That dude took Matt Nagy's terrible run blocking offensive line and made them so that they actually knew how to run block. This guy took everybody and made them worse on that defensive line. Prove us wrong. And that's definitely something that I'll be looking out for. But let's actually flip-flop to the other side. Actually, you know what? Let's go over to defensive tackles then. We're going to skip over running backs. We'll hit him on the way back. Let's go over to defensive tackles. And the biggest storyline, the camp storyline to watch out for, the rookies. We just talked about the balls of clay that we have. We got Gervon Dexter and Zach Pickens and also Bell. So some very people that didn't necessarily go off in college that have potential. Will they be able to display? PayPal, what do you have to say about them?
Yeah, I think Gervon Dexter, you know me, Brad. I think I'm more team Gervon. I think he's gonna wreak havoc. I mean, just purely with the size, his speed. We already kind of heard, kind of in mini camp of just how many people were just in awe of just how his effort and his size, his speed. I mean, yeah, him chasing down Justin Fields, like he just has that talent. And also it always helps when they have that rookie kind of get to know them on the Chicago Bears YouTube. Great stuff. It's a lot. Chicago Bears media has been awesome, Brad. I think you've mentioned that a few times. They've been great. Whoever's in charge of that has been awesome. But Gervon Dexter, he has all that talent. And like our biggest weakness, I mean, we always go back to it, was like that first step. And that was the only bad thing about him. I remember really watching in his tape. But once he gets his hands on you, it's like game over. Like he has all that stuff, and it comes down to the coaching too, though. It's like
it does.
If our defensive line coach is not able to kind of bring these high potential players like a Gervon Dexter, especially, into an elite star, because he has that potential. Man, look at that defensive line. But Gervon Dexter, look out for him because he's going to be fun.
I think we joked about this pre-show. You're team Gervon. I'm team Zach Pickens. We both agree as fans. We want them to succeed, right? But it's a little sibling rivalry we got going on to see who ends up doing better, right? But I am excited to see them because of that talent, because of the size of Gervon, like you were talking about. And I'm excited, too, to see what Zach Pickens is capable of, his quick first step. What does he look like out there? But even though that I am team Zach Pickens, I will say I am actually very excited to see Gervon Dexter because of that. Because I was very low on the signing. I didn't see hands, like a lot of hand usage out in college. And also, that first step. I can't wait to see the first step and be like, You don't take 2 seconds after the ball goes off the snap. He's not playing a read and react. He's playing more of a penetrating attack type of a role, most likely, right? So I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see these young D tackles. I can't wait to see Bell because no one's really seen him. No one's really seen a lot of his tape. So we get to see, does he actually look like a player or does he look like someone who's going to be on the practice squad? I think you're going to know pretty quick if he's going to stick around the Bears roster or not just by looking because of his experience at Kennesaw State. But PayPal, let's flip over to the offense. It's been a while since we've talked about the offense. We're going back and let's break down probably the biggest position battle, because I know you and I, we've talked about on the D tackles, we don't necessarily think that there's a big battle going on, so to speak.
Mhm.
It's more they're going to be, different defensive lines,
Rotations.
line shifts, rotations. But even defensive end, we didn't even touch this. Defensive end's probably going to be a battle for that opposite end. But the biggest battle seems to be at this running back position with Khalil Herbert getting the first snap and then Foreman, ROschon kind of coming in. PayPal, who's your favorite? Like, what do you think ultimately happens with these running backs?
Oh, ROschon is gonna, or I mean, not ROschon. Sorry, he's just the guy that you want it to be. But I think Khalil Herbert is definitely gonna start throughout the season. I think that's no question. Like, you can bring up the stats of how amazing of a runner he is and how like his yards per carry last year, even when Dave Montgomery was out and Khalil Herbert was the number one running back, because that's usually kind of the case. It's like, okay, is he a number one running back? He already did that. Like, he can play number one running back. And honestly, he actually did one of his better games was when he was the number one. He had like his highest yards per carry at that game. So I think he's, from a running perspective, like he definitely is going to start. It's just, you're going to have to watch the boring stuff at training camp and see if these running blocks can block. And if Khalil Herbert can block, then he easily has the job. But if our coaching staff really is like, we need a full down back to be that starting running back, then who knows? Donta Foreman might be like a starter, and then Khalil Herbert will be kind of his backup. Is that still that kind of the lightning, the thunder and lightning? He's going to be the lightning in the running back room.
Yeah, because I think for me, like, what am I watching at camp and what's the big storyline? Like, at camp, I don't like watching when they hand the ball off to the running backs because it's not full contact. So it's hard to, and also because you're like on the field, basically, for anyone that's been to camp, it's hard to really see what's going on with the running plays when you're not higher up. So to me, I don't necessarily care about the running like you were talking about, the blocking, but mainly you get drills where it's running back versus linebacker or secondary player, and it's just a receiving drill. Khalil Herbert needs to just verify that he is a good receiver. And it's hard to be like, it's hard to constitute what makes a good running back a receiver, right? Yeah, hands. It's just catching the ball, not dropping it like Jordan Howard did. But I think the big thing is, does he look fluid when he's running his routes? That's going to be something I'm looking at because he needs to be that every down player. If he can show that he can block and catch, I don't think it's a question. It's definitely Khalil Herbert. And I think ROschon is, I think he has a chance if Khalil Herbert doesn't block, if Khalil Herbert doesn't catch. I think that's what will ultimately happen.
I'm not gonna lie. I think ROschon, like, as much as we love him, we're not gonna probably see him till next year. Like, we're not gonna see like full on ROschon like playing all the time till next year. I just think that's kind of how it's gonna run. But he also has the potential. He has that physicalityness where it's like, man, he might be the guy that we want, just trucking people and wearing up the defense, and then getting a Khalil Herbert into just run down their throats,
We've said this too, and I I don't want to be like, oh man, he's on the chopping block. But I do think though, if ROschon is showing, like you said it, he's the guy that has always plowed people over.
Yeah.
And he was talking with our friends at NBC Sports Chicago, where like he was talking to Kenneth, and he was saying like when he plows people over, don't go dead on. Hit him with the shoulder, hit him on the side, and then that's how he kind of breaks the tackle because it's less to grab. He understands those angles. He was also supposed to go in like the 3rd round last year, but dropped. And that's where the Bears were shocked that he was around. Everyone was kind of shocked that he was around. That's why he was such a great player for the Bears to pick up. But if he is that, lower the shoulder and plow through people, to me, it's like, well, then why do you have Deonta Foreman? Because you have Travis Homer as that special teamer. So you get to kind of see what he's able to do. And 2, I got to say it, because even though we talk crap about Treston Ebner and Cement Shoes Ebner all the time, he is someone that I'm going to be looking out for, because like we said, in fairness to him, he did not look as fast as he did in college. He looked like he had cement shoes on. So I will be watching him as well, just to see if he has a little extra kick, a little extra speed, or if he's going to still kind of look like he's being dragged down by.
Why is he here? Why is he still here? That's our question.
Like, does he have a chance to
Yeah.
even make this roster? Because if he's not able to be that player to break out those large plays, Ebner's as good as gone. I mean, his writing's already on the wall, so he really does have to kind of ball out. I'll say so. Let's go over. Let's jump over to the cornerbacks and talk about some of this coverage. So the rookie corners are going to be a big storyline. PayPal, like, what's your biggest storyline that you're going to be watching for at that cornerback position?
Honestly, I'm looking at Terrell Smith just because we haven't seen him enough from him. I think Tyreek Stevenson, I've heard enough, and I liked him enough in college. I thought he was gonna play great, and he sounds like he's turning heads and he's playing great. Honestly, more than I expected. But Terrell Smith, we just haven't seen all that from him, and he's another guy I think we talked about. He could be a potential safety, like a backup safety option. We kind of have Kindle Vildor. Who knows? Terrell Smith could possibly beat Kindle Vildor at that cornerback spot. But what I really think he's going to be fighting for, honestly, is that backup safety. But he's going to be fun to see. Like, okay, where is he lining up? Is he going to be at that corner? Is he going to be at that safety? Just kind of keep an eye out for him. I think he has a lot of potential of making a spot on this roster, even though he's a 5th round pick. Very smart player, which I think that's good. That just goes super far when you're playing for Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, I agree. And also, just sidetracked a little bit, I think I saw one of my favorite comments. So Ron asked, is Ebner still on the team? Joseph says, ish, Ron, ish. I love that. Just a little bit. He's kind of on it, kind of not. Writing on the wall. I love that. But no, I love that he brought up Terrell Smith, because like, we did see him. That I love that. And I wasn't even going to bring up Tyreek Stevenson as well. So I'm glad we're kind of on the same page, because I really want to see him, but I don't think he's like a storyline. I don't think it's a battle as more of it's his job to lose. I'm looking at Kyler Gordon, because we talked about it last time. The Bears were looking at a veteran slot corner. Yet again, not a great player. The Mallette, not a great player, 30 years old. So he's up there in age. But it does get you a little bit nervous, and I hope that he can look a lot nicer. It's year 2. Now, yes, some corners can be Sauce Gardner and just ball out week 1, but a lot of them need that extra year to really, really kind of hone their craft, get adjusted to the speed of the game. And Kyler Gordon used his athleticism a lot of times to win a lot of matchups. So now, just as a slot guy, just purely using his physicality and quickness, can he look decent? And that to me is the big question, because I feel good about our outside corners. It's the slot that are we really going to have to be like, oh boy,
Yeah.
oh boy, what are we
I
going to do at this slot position?
I'm glad you brought it up because I do think we've kind of put a lot of weight on Kyle Gordon's shoulders of like completing this defense that they're like trying to create. Like I think he kind of fits that mold of like this is going to be the Eberflus defense of no one can run on us. And I
Yeah.
think he fits that nickelback spot of
Totally.
no one can run on us. You're going to have to pass on us. You're going to have to play a sketchy game, and that's when we're going to get our turnovers. You're going to have to throw it, and we're just going to get a bunch of turnovers. So, yeah.
I think it was Joseph that said it up top that the Bears were giving up. Like, we just need to stop giving up 200 yards rushing up the middle.
Yeah.
You just need that big guy in the middle, a Gervon Dexter. We got Billings, just those big bodies in the middle to eat up those blockers, let your linebackers do their job. And then, I love it. The corner having Kyler was great in run defense last season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going to skip again. We're going to stay on the defensive side of the ball, and we're skipping over the offensive line. We will touch it later. But let's talk about Sam linebacker then, or let's just talk about linebacker. Because to me, I don't really think that there's storylines about the starters, like the true starters.
Yeah.
My storyline more so is about Sewell because we've heard, I think it's more of like a fan-made, media-made, just draft narrative-made rumor about Noah Sewell potentially being an edge rusher just because he did kind of profile to that, but he is a smaller edge rusher. Sewell is the one that I'm watching out for in my big storyline just to kind of see where does he play? Is it actually going to be a competition with Sanborn? Sanborn did only play a handful of games, but I loved what I saw out of him. But his best thing, Sewell's best thing was blitzing. So is he going to be playing a different position? And is he going to be a chess piece, or is he just going to be, or are all of our hopes and dreams just going to be smashed and he's just going to be the backup Sam linebacker?
Hey, honestly, with a lot of these rookies, ever since Ebner, Brad, I'm like scarred, and I got to make sure, like Noah Sewell is so fast and so physical in his college tape. We got to double check now. Be like, okay, is Noah Sewell actually as fast as he did look on tape? Like is he still fast? Is he, does he have all that fire in him?
Yeah.
I like the Noah Sewell, and someone that I still think can have a spot on this team is DeMarcus Gates. Like,
Ooh,
I think he's still one of those fan favorites. Like that preseason with Sanborn and DeMarcus Gates, that was still like the best like preseason linebacking crew that came out of Chicago
of all time.
Yeah, of all time. Of all time. And hey, they're gonna come down. We'll be talking about this year when they're in the Hall of Fame together. But not actually, but still, like I think he just knows how to play football. He makes plays. I don't know if it's kind of his I guess I don't know his negative traits. Like it hasn't been publicly like enough tape on him, I guess. We're not pulling up preseason tape of this guy, but he just hasn't had that chance. And I think he has that. I saw a little clip of him. Was it like a couple days ago of one of the Tremaine Edmonds like being like, nice play, Gates, so obviously he's doing great plays out there. So he's balling out. And he still has the floss stick in his mouth. So his teeth he's not getting gingivitis anytime soon.
Immaculate. Absolutely immaculate. I am excited to see that. I totally forgot about Gates, and that's why we also love the preseason.
Yeah.
Which is quickly approaching, which is absolutely incredible. But let's go back one and let's finish things off with this offensive line. Just some of the storylines that are out there. Any storylines that you're going to be tracking on this offensive line? There can be a handful with this.
Yeah, I think just first off, is Darnell Wright kind of a number one? Like, is he kind of the guy that we got? Is he kind of the person that we're hoping for? And does he actually look like he could start day one and just start being good and protect Justin Fields. Because that's the whole reason why we got him, is to pass block. I think run blocking is gonna kind of fit in his game eventually. I mean, yeah, our offensive line coach taught everyone on the offensive line how to be the best in the NFL at run blocking. So I don't think that's a problem. It's just kind of, can he, in those one-on-one drills with the edge rushers, can he kind of stand his ground? Can he especially not get bull rushed, or kind of get that strength on those guys and not just get completely beaten? That's kind of something I'm looking for.
I like that. I'm actually going to go with the backups. Because yeah, you got Darnell right. I think that a good intriguing storyline is going to be, what do we do with the depth? Because if you look on paper, it looks very, you have Lucas Patrick, Ja'Tyre Carter, and Larry Borum, and then Leatherwood's just going to be chilling if they don't want to cut him and eat any dead money. But this goes into the whole Larry Borum piece. Is Larry too big? And do they want to bring in someone else? Is Ja'Tyre Carter not taking a step up to be a good, solid backup? Is Lucas Patrick still going to play like one of the worst guards in the NFL like he did last season? Because if those are all true, then the Bears will need to add some players. And I know Dieter as well. Dieter's been on the practice squad. Can we have Kellen Diesch was actually someone I really liked out of the draft process. Can these players prove that the Bears should not sign a veteran in to kind of take their place? I think that's going to be an interesting storyline, because the starting lineup seems set for like the first time ever. And so the backups, to me, it's weird. It's a good thing to say. Like, I want to watch the backups. And obviously, like you talked about with Darnell Wright, he's got to be good. But the backups are going to be a very interesting camp storyline, I'll say for sure.
Yeah, I guess too, like, quick things too. I'm not too worried about Whitehair at center. I think just making sure Tevin Jenkins is fine at left guard.
Yeah, Bears Bones just said,
healthy. Bears Bones. Yeah, is he healthy? Yeah, that's a good point.
For sure.
And yeah, is he good at left guard? But also even that right guard spot, I think we just haven't seen enough of Nate. We haven't seen Nate Davis yet. So yeah, what can he do on this Bears offensive line? He's a big boy, so I think he'd just be kind of one of those fun guys to see just as a right guard. Yeah, and finally we're kind of confident in our starting offensive line, and it's not, who's actually going to start, who's going to be like, we got all these guys, is he going to get switched to this position? No, we have none of that. We're all locked in, at least for now. We're all locked in with the starting five.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And also too, how can we forget the snapping of Cody Whitehair? That's something we got to look out for as well. I know if I see Cody Whitehair botch a snap, everyone is going to be like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Did Poles make the right decision? People are going to be freaking out in the stands if he misses a snap. But it'll be nice to have a center that doesn't get bull rushed every time that he touches the football. So that'll be nice, especially for Justin. But those are some of the camp storylines, though. We went through them all. PayPal. Any other ones that you can think of now in recap?
Man, not really. I mean, I think the main one is kind of that Chase Claypool. I'm just worried about him, Brad. He's really got me going, and yeah, that I mean, we have nothing really to say about the safeties. I think Jaquan Brisker, I guess we'll just see how explosive he really is, and kind of if the game is coming to him even more. Eddie Jackson, we won't have to worry about. And yeah, I guess I kind of talked about Terrell Smith of like who's going to be that backup. Terrell Smith, like, is Kendall Williamson going to kind of turn out and be good?
Yeah.
We know kind of how Elijah Hicks, I think he kind of has filled that free safety spot. I don't think he's not officially locked it in, but I think he's kind of the big candidate, and he kind of has almost dibs on it. But yeah, Terrell Smith, kind of Kendall Williamson, who's going to be that backup strong safety for Jaquan Brisker? Because Lord knows our safety injuries are going to happen, especially to our safeties, and we don't have DHC anymore, so we need a backup safety that can play like DHC.
You're still sour, man. You're still
because no one can play like a Pro Bowler like a DHC. He's just the best backup in the league.
He had one season. I mean, I do like some DHC. I remember when he got an elite grade from PFF for starting like 3 games. Gosh. And you would sort it, and he was the number 1 safety in the league when you ignored snap count. And it was, I think it might have been 2018 or like 2019. But my money's actually AJ Thomas. Since we haven't talked about safeties, AJ Thomas is definitely someone that I think could be that backup. You talked about the backup strong safety. He was someone that wasn't bad when we saw him in the preseason. He just seems to be more of a box safety. And how much do you play box in a cover 2 system? Now, you don't only purely play cover 2, but you do play a lot of deep. And Brisker has the quickness, has the speed, and agility to be able to play kind of both. But yeah, AJ Thomas is someone that I'm at least looking out for. But you also reminded me of the last little storyline, the injuries. That's going to be something just in general, regardless of Chase Claypool. Darnell Mooney's coming off of an injury. Terrell Smith, you said, was a little bit banged up. Jack Sanborn is coming back from an injury. There's a handful of other injuries as well that some people are coming back from. Just want to make sure everybody's healthy. Nobody gets hurt. That's the ultimate goal of this, is you just don't want to come out with ACL tears and having people lost for the season. But PayPal, we're here. We are here. The football season has started. We already have somebody out. But guys, it's going to be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe out there on YouTube. Also, please, on Thursday, 7:30, bring your training camp questions. I will be answering them. So make sure you jot it down. Go on to YouTube at 7:30, and we will be live to break down the first day of Bears training camp. I'm pumped. I also hope to see some of you out there as well. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to rate 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcasts. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.
Yeah, she's got some